We about to have a conversation. You ready?
Yes. Oh, yes. Let's do it.
All right. Before we have the conversation we're going to have, I'm going to put out the number for those of you who have just tuned in for the first time. And I want to caution you, don't call up with any nonsense. If you call up the show today or any other day, please make sure you have your ducks in a row, your facts checked, you don't have to have clear diction because mine isn't clear all of the time. I'm not going to require that. Your subject and verb, they don't have to agree. They don't have to agree, but you got to make some damn sense and add something to the conversation. Or you can sit there like the 99% of the people who listen and just listen. But here's the number, 866-801-8255. We're about to have a conversation today that I haven't had on these airwaves in 8 years. I haven't had that conversation. We're going to have it today. Before we do, though, I want to let you know that Brittney Griner, WNBA superstar, college NCAA superstar champion, Olympic champion, WNBA champion, lost her appeal today in court in outside of Russia in a regional court. They upheld her conviction, which is 9.5 years of her life for a vape pen, which many of us would go, that's not a big deal, but she should have known. Stop. Be a human being and lean into the reality that this woman who had a career where she was making millions of dollars overseas and domestically playing a sport that most of us love to watch, basketball, will have for the rest of her career life be spent in a jail in Russia, which is in a whole upheaval right now because of a war that's going on. And she's 6'7", 6'8". I kept saying 6 foot. She's 6'8", and she's a Black gay woman in Russia. I don't know what she's experiencing day to day, but I know she was vaping because she had anxiety. She was having mental health issues, and it was actually prescribed to her, the cannabis. It's illegal, yes. But it was illegal for a white person and a Black person to marry in 1966 in about 18 states in this union. It was illegal for me and Justin to be able to sit anywhere we want in this country. It was illegal for us to be free. How about that? Illegality matters not to me. I care about this woman's humanity, and it is literally, according to reports, being shredded right now. And I don't know anybody. I know there's several of you who have been incarcerated. I have never been incarcerated. And I don't judge anyone that's been incarcerated, because if you did your time, to me, clean slate. That's what we do, right? Clean slate. You paid your time, clean slate. But America prison in Russia, I watched a documentary, Justin, on prison in Russia. And I'm not, I'm talking about regular size women, white women, regular size white, 6'8", Black women, gay in a Russian prison. I don't know what she's experiencing, but I know it feels probably like hell. So I feel really bad today that she got this, which was expected. So the only way we're going to ever see Brittney Griner back here is with a prisoner swap, which thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, Russia. I mean, the thing when people say, oh, well, she should have known, it's like, you need to realize that she's being held as leverage because of our support for Ukraine. Like, anybody that thinks that the Russian judicial system is fair you're out of your mind, right? So she's clearly just being taken as a political prisoner. And, it's a really sad situation. And I hope that we're able to get her home soon. Also, I noticed that we should have known stuff, by the way. That rhetoric never applies to Black male celebrities that get in trouble, by the way.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing with arguing. When a Black male celebrity gets in trouble, we'll cook up a conspiracy theory to explain
Give me an
person.
example. Give me an example.
OJ?
Okay, good. What was the rhetoric around OJ? I might have participated, so let me just fully disclose. When he was found not guilty, I was like jumping and screaming. I think I high-fived myself.
But that's two different things. Seeing a Black person beat that system, but also knowing he's guilty, don't necessarily have to be the same thing, right? Because it was like, right. It's
Thanks for giving me a pass.
Because that's people have complicated things with that. But remember the thing? It was Nicole's drug dealer. It was the mafia. Everybody had, because OJ's son. Some people say OJ's son killed her. A lot of people came up with a lot of different things. But when it comes down to a woman who's Brittney Griner is actually the subject of an international conspiracy. If you think the Russian government was going to allow its court system to let Brittney Griner be free, you are out of your mind. This is a country where Vladimir Putin poisons people that speak out against the government. There's no freedom of speech there. There's no real judicial system there, right? So I'm just saying, I give Brittney Griner a conspiracy theory too. Don't be supporting the Russian government when it comes time to help a Black woman. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the support of Russia actually leads me to, there are no borders as it relates to how we feel about things, right? And it's complicated being Black, because the enemy of my enemy could be my friend. Even if I can't stand them, they can't stand me, which is why there's kind of like this, what do they call it? A Venn diagram, where, you could have KKK members overlap with misogynistic, Killer Mike. Let's do that. It's like Killer Mike. People who support Killer Mike can also be in the KKK, and that can overlap. It's complicated being Black. So I'm gonna have a conversation that I've never had on these airwaves, primarily because it is a third rail, right? And anybody that is concerned at all about their future in this current climate, you don't touch the third rail because it'll electrocute you. But I'm Karen Hunter, so we're going to tap dance on it. I'm going to put my semiconductors on. I'm going to have a light bulb over here. I might need to light some stuff up. We're touching the third rail today because I think the longer we dance around it, the more we are in this space where people get away with what Kanye West got away with. So let me just say this, being Black in America, I absolutely loved the Nation of Islam. The time I spent at the mosque in Harlem, this was after Malcolm, hanging out with Khalid Muhammad and at that time Conrad Muhammad and them, I felt like a queen. I felt good about myself. I felt empowered. The restaurants, I knew I could eat from them because they were, they were clean. The bean pies, delicious. There is Malcolm X's parents were Garveyites who then, when he transitioned into Islam, there's this, thing. You're from Newark, Justin?
Not rich. I'm from Kansas City, but the Nation of Islam, I grew up with them selling the daily call or the final call and everything on the corner. So
did you?
Yeah.
Wait, all right. I didn't know this. All right, do tell. See, this is what I'm saying.
They were still active. They were still active in Kansas City, in the late 80s and the early 90s for sure.
So we have this ability to ignore things like Yaqub. We can ignore Yaqub. we can there's a superpower because when you're Black in America, you have to adapt to a lot of things that go on and then pick and choose what's beneficial to the most of us. And we lean in, right? So, empowerment, have your own businesses. I'm with it. Yaqub, I'm not sure if he invented white people in a lab, but I took a science class or two. That don't make no sense. We're going to put that over there. The eat to live, that's good. We're going to spit out that over there. And then when Farrakhan comes, it's like, okay, we don't listen to everything, but but Farrakhan be saying some things. I'm still confused by the speech he gave at the Million Man March. The 1 in the 9 is pregnant. I haven't figured that out yet. If you're on Twitter, let me know what the 1 in the 9 pregnant analogy meant. I was like, okay, but 3-4 hours in, I was excited to see the panoply of Black beauty on that mall. It was actually 10 times more people than showed up for Trump's inauguration. And it was beautiful and inspiring. It was inspiring. I don't know where your dollar went. I don't know. And I'm not tracking it down because that whatever happened, it was worth the dollar. Okay. Arsenio Hall brings Farrakhan on, he loses his career. Why? Justin, I'm doing a test right now. Why did he lose his career?
Well, I mean, it depends. Arsenio claims that he was going to quit the show anyway, but Farrakhan's anti-Semitism made him a lightning rod. At the time, he wouldn't back down from the anti-Jewish conspiracy theories that he was saying.
Right. So here's what I want to say about that, and this is where Kanye is. So Kanye is Farrakhan. When did that happen? Minus the IQ cells anyway. Farrakhan's way smarter than Kanye, but they're saying the same things, and the reason why it resonates is because there's shreds of truth, right? This is how Black Ahmaud Arbery running through Georgia He's not supposed to be there because of the tropes around Black men, you know, and and racism is born out of these things. Like Birth of a Nation was so popular because it's like barefoot Black people eating chicken and watermelon. Yes, I've seen that before. It feels right, right? And it allows for people to blanket an entire group of people based on these tropes. And it's the same all the way. And it allows for people to round people up and justify it, because that's our problem. It's the Black people with the crime. It's the Jewish people in business. It's this and this and that. And everybody has a Jewish lawyer, and a Jewish partner, and a Jewish this and a Jewish that. And it's easy to then categorize the Jews as the problem. But the problem with that is, now you are the same as the Klan. Now you're the same as these Trump people, and you're the same as all these other people. And I don't want to be the same as them. I want to be different. So you can say whatever you want. It is America, you know, and Kanye was so bold to say Adidas is not going to do anything. Well, Adidas did something today. And what's ironic about that is Adidas was founded by Nazis. Two brothers in Germany. One was a Hitler supporter, supplied the brown shirts with damn Nike, with the freaking Adidas, the Olympics that Jesse Owens and 18 other Black people obliterated the Germans in that 1935 Berlin Olympics. They were wearing Adidas, because they were Nazis. That's the irony of this. It's so weird. What 1936 games? I'm sorry. What do we do with this, Justin? And how do we have this conversation without offending people, without being, because it's easy to call people racist, because now that has become the same, right? We call somebody, no one hears that anymore. They don't process it. They don't even care. It's not a thing. Anti-Semite, what is it? We can't even define it anymore. But if you hit somebody with that label, they're done. And we don't ever unpack what's behind it. Can we unpack that today? Justin Williams, do you accept?
Yeah. I'm glad that Kanye West got his wake up call. He had said all kinds of stuff about Black people this whole time that was KKK stuff. He had undermined Harriet Tubman's legacy.
Like what, Justin? Like what? Like slavery was a choice?
Slavery was a choice. He was undermining Harriet Tubman's legacy, talking about George Floyd died of fentanyl. I mean, he's out there saying a bunch of wild stuff about Black people. So I'm very happy that he went all the way white supremacist, not just, he didn't take the easy white supremacist way. He went to the anti-Semitism, and now it cost him everything. And it's good. That's the way it should be. Racism should come with consequences.
So what do you say to people? Well, they didn't say Adidas didn't fire him or get rid of him when he said the stuff about Black people. Yeah. What do you say to that?
Well, he's Black, so they let him get away with that. But that's not. But that, you know, you can't excuse one form of white supremacy to excuse another. You can't be like, well, I'm against white supremacy only if it's against my group. Like, trust me, like you were saying, when you become the Klan, these people hate all of us. So when you try talking about I'm Black and I don't want to work with the Jews, we're only 13% of the population. You better get some allies. So when these people, when these white people, you get your Latino friends on board. This is about white supremacy. They're not dicing people up into little groups. Oh, we just want some of the Blacks. No, everybody is in trouble based on this stuff, right? And for him to have fed into that, what I wish we've gotten this moment now where people can say whatever they want on the internet and people think that it's smart if it's crazy, you know what I mean? Remember the movie Drop Squad in the 90s where some Black guys had a van?
I've had fantasies, but go ahead. Tell us.
Don't we wish we could have the Drop Squad and just pick Kanye up and just reprogram him?
How do you know we don't have a Drop Squad? I'm just saying.
I don't think we do, because Candace Owens
Kanye would have been gathered up?
Yeah.
866-801-8255. Justin is here. Justin Williams. And I would love to hear from y'all, because, I'm struggling with the reality is, to bring this up, to talk about it, there are people that are afraid. I'm unafraid. If I really believed what Kanye was saying, I would just be quiet. I ain't gonna lie. I would just be quiet. But I actually don't believe what he's saying. And I think, and I do think a lot of people are saying what they need to say to keep their check, right?
Yeah.
They're saying what they need to say to keep their check. There's a lot of people, I am outraged, and you're really not, because you left space for this man. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be really zero tolerant means, and let me just give you a little language correction on this show. There's no such thing as white supremacy, only white fragility, there's white mediocrity, there's white terrorism. White is a made up construct. First of all, it is a power structure. It's not supreme. Putting those two words together is an oxymoron. We're not doing that here. It's it's just a mantra. We just parrot it because we heard it. But even that is a phrase that is, common, tells you everything about marketing and how we've been indoctrinated into saying two words together that actually don't even, because if you were really supreme people don't do the horrible things. Only people that are scared, insecure, tiny, ignorant, power hungry, horrible, like evil, but not good people. Supreme gives me a notion that you're better than, but better than people don't do worse than things. I just feel like that's a word that should be on the shirt. 866-801-8255. Better than people don't do worse than things. Let me write that down. That just came out of my mouth, out of my head.
I like that. You gotta tweet that out.
Better than, because somebody else is going to do it, and then they say they said it, but you heard it here.
Erase their handle.
Y'all gonna stop stealing from me. All right. So how do we handle this, right? As a community, as a culture, because there is a lot of anti-Jewish. I remember my first job on the radio came as a result of the Crown Heights riots, right? Came as a result of this notion that a Jewish caravan with privilege can come through with their own ambulance, with their own procession, and come through, didn't follow laws, ran over two kids playing in front of their house. Gavin Cato died, right? And that set off because David Dinkins didn't know how to handle this very question, right? It's always there because of the proximity and because of the marginalization and because of the oppression that both groups have had. But one group can step into whiteness at any time. One group can tap dance into whiteness at any time and the other group cannot. So that has given people a false sense. And then 1930s happened and then the 40s, right? And then you realize, oh, shoot, America sent us back to get killed. I thought we were friends. Oh, we funded this dude, Hitler. Some of us, oh, he's killing. Oh, damn, this didn't turn out the way I thought. Okay, let's change our names. Let's do something different. Because we can be white now. So there's this whole movement, right? And if you're Jewish, call and correct me. Let's talk. I spent 4 years on the radio with a Hasidic rabbi. I know some Yiddish. I'm good with the Torah. I'm good with, a lot of stuff. We could have Bible talk around it, and been to way too many bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, and I actually have a mezuzah on my door right now because I understand the culture, but I also understand the religion. And I'm not a scholar, but I feel like there is so much overlay. But whiteness is such a drug that you're willing to do anything to attain it. Even so that Crown Heights thing blew up because David Dinkins didn't know how to navigate this very question that we're talking about today. And then this brilliant producer of radio decided he was going to put a Black and a Jew on the radio. So for 4 years, I'm sitting with a rabbi or some Orthodox Jew or Steve Malzberg, who's a horrible human being. I don't care what religion he is. And because we want to show Blacks and Jews and how they, and I was like, this is stupid. This is the dumbest thing. I was like, this is dumb. I'm not doing this anymore, because eventually it's going to come around that I'm an anti-Semite because I'm shredding these people every single day on the radio. And it's just because I'm smarter than the people you put me with. Get the smart person in here. Let's have a conversation. All right, let's go. 866-801-8255. Your thoughts on that? Nothing? You?
No,
you.
I mean, yeah, no, yeah. I remember that stuff from the early '90s. I mean, it's a difficult thing. I think one thing you're seeing now is with the rise of white nationalism is that people that may have thought they were not going to be singled out are being singled out, right, by these particular people, right? So I think, I think it's like an interesting moment. I would say though that Black people should be aware that racist white people during the civil rights movement said that civil rights was a Jewish conspiracy, by the way.
Did they?
Yes, absolutely. That was the claim in the South among segregationists, that civil rights was a Jewish and communist conspiracy. And it's actually one of the reasons why Martin Luther King actually made alliances with Jewish leaders, because of the idea of, you've experienced the Holocaust, right? But this is before like this is before Jews are going to move to the suburbs, right? And then their identity is going to get a little bit more complicated. It's like, am I white? Am I not? But I think what you're finding now with a lot of the rhetoric around the world is like Jews are actually precisely finding out that these racist white people don't see them as white. And
if they didn't know that from Charlottesville, they didn't say the blacks will not be played, the Latino. They said the Jews will not. I was like, that's interesting. Yeah. Because it always, there's so much here that needs to be discussed. So much that needs to be discussed. And I don't know if we have the capacity, because I feel like we're way too ignorant of history to actually have an honest conversation about where we are right now, why Kanye is not just ignorant. Who was on yesterday, Smiz, that said something really brilliant? What did we have on yesterday? And they said, I know that Kanye's not crazy because he stepped right up into this. He didn't go attack everybody. He stopped right there, right? There was Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Yeah, he didn't attack. He knew who and where. And even this fits into that Trump thing, right? Like it's not, anathema to the whole entire, Make America Great Again crowd. And so it's interesting where he knows where the levers to pull. And there's also this notion that, again, it's a trope that is so easy to fall into, right? We all have Jewish managers and Jewish people and Jewish, it's like, yeah, that's right. Everybody look at Hollywood. Yeah, that's right. Isn't that, it's like, and when it comes back around, it's like, wow, we're doing this again. Didn't this turn out poorly before?
It's the same stereotypes. And it's the one thing that Black people should be able to relate to about Jews is like, it's either criminality or laziness for us, right? And for Jews, it's the idea that Jews are some kind of secret conspiracy that control everything. And like you said, you point towards 4 or 5 prominent Jews, and then you claim that's evidence. It's so funny when they say like the Jews control Hollywood, and I'm like, hey, wasn't Mel Gibson in Hollywood? They couldn't have had that much control.
Yeah, he's still in Hollywood. They can't get rid of him. He's like, bump you. I got my own money. I'm gonna do all of the things. What? Ha back. But yeah, to your point, 866-801-8255, that is probably the trick, right? Like if we can label, and then there's several prominent examples, then that makes it true. This is not good math, though. The math is not mathing, and I think we should be better, than this. I also feel like, because people are like, why didn't they cancel when we was talking about Black people? Because Black people didn't cancel him.
That's right.
Black people didn't cancel. Y'all didn't cancel him. When he was talking greasy about us, you said nothing. Jewish people, one thing that they have understood over time is that you cannot let any slight go unchecked. And I'm like this as a human being, by the way. As a person, I feel like you're guilty until proven innocent, and I'm not going to let you say anything, just anything to me or about me. I'm checking it, and it's aggressive and it's maybe over the top, but it allows for the yeast to get air and it grows if you let things go unchecked. I'm petty for a reason. I'm like, yeah, that might be petty. I'm going to get you. I'm coming back for you on Twitter. You got one thing to say, because I recognize that. And it's something as a group, they understand this is how it happens. You let one thing go and the next, oh, it's no problem. Oh, it's nothing. Oh, it's nothing. Then you look up and you're in a car being carted off somewhere, being gassed and murdered. Yes, that's how it happens. And it's not overstating. 866-801-8255. Can we go to the phones, Justin? Justin's here today.
It's also weird, like how, remember in the 90s in rap where just anybody who was successful was accused of being a sellout? Now you can be an actual sellout and not get called a sellout by your peers.
Look at that turn. Yes, I remember those days. Who did we call a sellout back then?
We used to call Hammer a sellout, even though he was actually the most gangster dude in Oakland.
The most gangster dude in Oakland, who was putting down everybody was eating off of Hammer.
Yeah, brings the whole hood with him. Goes broke, trying to bring everybody out of the hood in Oakland. And that was the guy we call a sellout. Kanye is Clayton Bixby from the Chappelle Show, and not a peep from his peer. Only sneak disses like J. Cole, False Prophets, or like Donald Glover with the sunken face Kanye in the Must Be Summer video, but no peers just like denouncing it. He's allowed to be in rap, and dudes want to be on his tracks too. Like come on, what's going on, man?
Well, you know what's going on. The ignorance. Linda in Virginia, how do you feel? Welcome to the Karen Hunter Show. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
My comment is basically, I don't think it's real complex in terms of what happened with Kanye. The difference is, as you said before, he's done numerous things, starting from, way back with Taylor Swift, and he's been always given a pass. And to me, if you are in the extremely minute minority of being a Black billionaire, there were so many opportunities for you to have used your platform for good, whether it was to advance your race or not. And it kind of reminds me, and I'm not of the age that, I was a Kanye fan, so I'll be honest about that. But he kind of reminded me a little bit of how when people hang on to an abusive boyfriend, when you met him, he courted you, you loved what he did, and you keep waiting for that to return. And you keep going back to the same abuse, and he comes back after his other lovers have discarded him. And that's kind of how I see it with him.
You sound like you're talking from experience. You should call back on Friday and let us know the story, because I got questions for you, Linda, but you're spot on. We're going to take a break. Before we do, yesterday, Kim Kardashian, his ex-wife, she shared her thoughts on social media. She said, hate speech is never okay or excusable. I stand with the Jewish community and call on the terrible violence and hateful rhetoric towards them to come to an immediate end. She didn't say Kanye's name. Made it very, why not just say, my ex-husband Kanye. I mean, we know who she's talking about, right? This is very PR. This is PR perfect, actually. It's crafted perfectly.
What did Pete Davidson tweet about it?
I'm not following Pete. You follow Pete?
No.
That would be, we would like my 10-inch dick. No, just, oh my goodness. All right. Today, Adidas dropped Kanye. Again, Adidas, founded by at least one Nazi. If the Nazis think you're gone too far, oh my goodness, Adidas. Well, and let me not paint Adidas, because that was, in the 1930s, so long ago. And I want to ask you this question when we come back to, at what point can you be redeemed? Like, should we have ever been buying Adidas? I'm feeling like, is that right up there with Mercedes and IBM? I don't know. Pause that. But Adidas does not tolerate anti-Semitism until we did, and any other sort of hate speech. Ye's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful, and dangerous, and they violate the company's values of diversity and inclusion. I hate that term. Mutual respect and fairness. After a thorough review, it took them 2 weeks after everybody else was like, nah, we good. After a thorough review, the company has taken the decision to terminate the partnership with Ye immediately. Not immediate. You could have done this 2 weeks ago, Adidas. In production of Yeezy branded products, and stop all payments to Ye and his companies. Adidas will stop the Adidas Yeezy business with immediate effect. Now, the Adidas made them. He's been in partnership with them, I think, since 2013 to make and distribute items from his clothing line. The first product from the collaboration was released in 2015. Sales are around $2 billion a year, or 10% of Adidas's overall sales. That made him a billionaire. According to Forbes today, Kanye is no longer a billionaire because of the severing of the ties with the Adidas deal no longer in place. Yeah, Kanye lost his billionaire status, and he's now worth a mere, this went down by 1.5 billion. He's only now estimated to be worth 400 million from his music catalog, real estate cash, and 5% stake in Skims, which is the Kim Kardashian. And let me just say this, for all you women who like to, hold up men who may not be worthy of your time, energy, and effort. This is the case of that. And I'm not a big fan of the Kardashians, even though I've worked with them. Full disclosure, have a lot of respect for Chris. Full disclosure. That said, she bailed him out back in 2015 when he went public and said he was $16 million in debt due to the overhead of his fashion line, and that he wasn't selling, and he was $16 million in debt. And Kim Kardashian tweeted, busy cashing my $80 million video game check. She got a check for $80 million for Kim Kardashian Hollywood, $80 million. So she cashed that and she transferred $53 million into a joint account. Kimmy Cakes was in a position to lend that money to Kanye. She bailed him out of debt and he was good after that. And he also has a 5% stake in her shapewear brand. Isn't that something? So there's that. He's not a billionaire.